January 1st, 1863, slavery ended with the Emancipation Proclamation, or so we thought. America is being infested with human trafficking. According to the U.S. Department of Human and Health Services, this is modern-day slavery, and this evil is preying on America's youth. This global epidemic has become the second largest criminal industry in the world, right underneath illegal drugs. It's happening right here, right now, and to our children. It's our responsibility to become more aware, to see the signs, and be able to help child victims of human trafficking. Traffickers prey on children and exploit them to sexual and forced labor all across America on a daily basis. The most vulnerable seem to be the runaways. National incident studies of missing, abducted, runaway, and throwaway children, as cited in the Herald News article Tackling Human Trafficking, states an estimated 1 out of 3 children that run away is lured into sex trafficking. 1 out of 3. This is happening right underneath our noses, right in front of us on a daily basis. Center for Advancement of Human Rights of Florida State University talks about the recruiting of children for human trafficking is happening on the streets, at malls, at schools, and even online with MySpace and Facebook. A good example of this happening in front of our faces online would be Craigslist. Jordan Steffen of the Orlando Sentinel, back in September 2010, talks about how the Craigslist decided to close their adult advertisement section because of poor monitoring of child prostitution and child human trafficking. What the article also talks about is that they failed to close this section on their international websites as close as Canada. Besides sexual labor, our children are being exploited into forced labor. According to the Advancement of Human Rights of Florida State University, which from now on I will just refer to as Florida State University, talks about agricultural, factory, and domestic child human trafficking. Traffickers use abuse, mentally and physically, such as rape and isolation, to keep victims captive. The U.S. Department explains, forceful violence is used especially during the early stages of victimizing. This is known as the seasoning process. Other tactics are fraud and coercion. These are false pretenses such as offering jobs that don't exist and giving threats and harm to the victims and their loved ones. Now you are aware, let's talk about the signs of child victims of human trafficking. I'm going to be quoting a lot from Linda Blackenston from the RDH magazine and the Administration of Children and Families. Some of the physical signs of child human trafficking is malnutrition, dehydration, poor hygiene, hearing loss, limb amputation, that's usually from the agricultural, respiratory, back problems, bruising, and broken bones. But the mental ones are shame, disorientation, traumatic bonding, shock, disbelief, anxiety, panic attacks, post-traumatic stress disorder, and depression. If you think if you're dealing with a trafficker for child human trafficking, these are some of the signs you want to look out for. Won't leave the victim alone. They will only pay cash for any services towards the victim if they don't want any paper trails. The victim will have little or no cash at all. The trafficker will take control of the situation by speaking or coaching the victim into saying a rehearsed conversation. They'll hold the identity and travel papers if the child is a foreign victim of human trafficking. Now that you are aware and you know the signs, I want to talk to you about what you can do to help save a child from human trafficking. Awareness. I have just made you aware of this. You are now educated and you now can be able to spread the word. Awareness is very important to recognizing this is going on right now underneath our noses, and we need to bring more attention to it so we can take a stop to it. You want to contact the authorities if you come in contact with a child. And if you're dealing with one, you want to speak to a child in a safe and secure location away from the trafficker. You want to screen translators if the child does not speak any English to make sure that they're not working for the trafficker. I have some visual aids here, some flyers you can take to work or you can keep in your folder, as well as phone numbers for organizations that will lead you to the local authorities who can help you in rescuing a child victim of human trafficking. In conclusion, I have made you aware, I talked about the signs, and I gave you the tools to help and spread the word for human trafficking, child human trafficking. This action needs to be stopped and begin saving and saving what according to the Administration of Child and Family calls or says is 246 million who are enslaved around the world. Let's start with us. Let's start here with America. Thank you.